Right, well, welcome back to the Weekly Yarns. Those of you new, my name's Barry. Well, we're doing this Saturday morning. It's overcast, grey outside, but having said that, you get a nice good light coming through that window. I've got here my blanket from Peru hanging up. It's a lovely thick woolen blanket. I got this in 2004 when we went trekking out in Peru in the Amazon. And honestly, what I'm trying to do with it, I know it's look daft, but what I'm trying to do with it is kill the echo in this room. Because if everything in this room, other than the curtains and the carpets, is hard, and then my voice just bounces back and forward, and you can tell on the audio. I did it last night on this, my little Tascam DRO5X, with the doors and everything shut as normal, and the echo in this room was just unbelievable. So we're having a second go this morning. Got the blanket up here. Hopefully this will absorb a bit of sound, kill the echo. We'll see, won't we? Right, well, through the week I've got a question from Ahmed Al-Bakar. Not sure which country you're actually in, but drop us another message. Let us know where you are. It's nice to know where my viewers are and what we're doing. So Ahmed, he asked, could I Arabize the channel? I took that to mean, could I put Arab subtitles on the videos? Right. This is a little service that Google provide already on the service on YouTube. So what you do, open up the video you want to watch. Down in the bottom right hand corner of the video, and I'll put a picture up here, I'll put a screenshot of a video with the menus on so you can see it. Bottom right hand corner, you've got the like, dislike and share buttons. Just above that is a little square box with some lines in it. If you tick that box, it turns on your subtitles. If you go to the gear wheel to the right of it, open that up, there's this menu in there, and I'm looking at my menu now on this picture that I'm going to put up for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's the fourth, because it's got auto translate. I don't know if that means auto translate as to the part of the world that you're living in, and it'll pick that up from your registration. But if you go down, the last one just above the bottom line says English auto generated, and it's got a set of arrows 2. Click that, select your language, job done. As you see on this screen print I've got up, it converts the audio into subtitles, and then it translates it into your own home language for you. So Ahmed, try that. Nice to see you watching. Thank you very much for your support. Very much appreciated. If you can't get it to work, give us a quick shout. I'll see if we can do a little video on it, hopefully that'll demonstrate what you need to do. All right, Ahmed, thank you very much. On my video of the diff, where we'll put the diff back into the gearbox, when we were setting the backlash on that, the preload had been previously set in a previous video. Go back and watch it. I'll put a link up here. Go back and watch it. It was with a method that Lance Maskell handed down to me. No reason to believe it's not going to work. It worked for him for years and years, and he never had any failures with any of his equipment that he tried it on. So during that video, when we popped the diff back in, so we'll count the castellations. There were 16 castellations, and I did say we would get a number, didn't I, as to how far, if you turned up one castellation, how far it would advance or retard, whichever way you're going, the diff against the pinion. Right, so here's what it is. I'm extremely lucky in so much that I have a spare gearbox up at the farm. So yesterday I popped up the farm, whipped one of the caps off, took the adjustment nuts out, measured it, 16 TPI. Alright, so I've got a quick calculator here. 1000 divided by 16 62.5, right, which is 62.5 thou, 0.0625 thou advance for every rotation, every full rotation of the adjustment nut. You will advance the nut 62.5 thou. If we divide that by 16 again, because there were 16 castellations on there, it gives you an advance per castellation of 0.0039, nearly 4 thou. One castellation takes it in 4 thou. Okay, I haven't worked out yet the correlation between the 4 thou linear and what it takes off the backlash. I think in the video, I think it was taken just over a millimeter. I think in the video it was taken just over 1 thou out of the backlash for every castellation in. That's a more important figure, isn't it? Because we need to. The idea was, if you measured your backlash and you had a 20 thou backlash, and you were aiming for 7. How quick can you get rid of 13 rather than do one castellation measure, one castellation measure? Did we have a number where you could simply look at it and go, if I can advance that 1.5 thou, so if I move it 6 castellations, I get 9 thou off that, gets us into me, near to me figure where I want to be, you know what I mean? So yes, so one castellation gets you 3.9 thou in, or 0.0039 movement on the cage in, which would make it incredibly difficult to set the preload, wouldn't it? Because if you measured your preload and you had a 3 thou movement on the cage, right, think about this, if you had a 3 thou movement on the diff cage, the tolerance on the diff cage is 0 to 2 thou. One castellation is going to take it in 4 thou. You're going to be pushing on 1 thou, aren't you? So you're going to have it. There's going to have to be either, there could be a situation where you've got 3 thou or -1. We'll see. So as you see, we've got the gearbox back in, didn't we? An easy option was, in my personal circumstances, with the way things are in the garage today, was to take the axle back off, put the gearbox in from the back. Dead simple. The other option with that tractor is you take, there's Betty up on the roof, look at her. Oh, she's full of hell this morning. You take the fuel tank off, the clutch cover, you got to take the clutch out, the shafts out of the clutch. That may be a quicker option if your tractor is complete standing on its wheels, but the way mine was, it was just 7 bolts, axle off, job done. So as I say, 2 3/8 lifting eyes got screwed into where the seat frame fastens on, lifted it off of the engine crane. You'll see it, I've got a video of the end result of it when it's all back together. Popped it outside on an axle stand, out the way. Quickest and easiest way to do it. I'm very surprised how quick the gearbox went in. It's very straightforward, very simple. Got the clearances set. Good enough, isn't it? You know, it's like, we've got to remember this is a 50-year-old tractor, right? It's not an RB211 Rolls-Royce jet engine. So we'll set them up. I've just set the clearances with feeler gauges. There is, and I need to look in the books, there is a vertical clearance on that gearbox. Now it's not very clear what that exactly means. Does that mean, and the gearbox is sitting on the 4 mounting bolts that are in, there are dowels, steel dowels or bushings in between the gearbox frame and those bolts, which locate it roughly, but it can move up and down and it can twist left to right just a little bit, but that gearbox is not rigid in the frames. That's what I'm saying. So I need to have a look at it and see what the vertical clearance entails. Does this mean the gearbox has to physically be able to move up and down, which it can on the dowels, but it's not a lot, you know, it's a small amount. But I have seen that number banded about. So at the end of the video, I'll take you for a quick walk back into the garage and show you the axles back on. As I say, went straight back on. Couldn't believe how easy that went back on. Just my lucky day, wasn't it? Just straight back on. As you notice, the hydraulic oil pump is still missing. I took it back off. Campbell Booth from New Zealand. I was going to say America there. Campbell Booth from New Zealand watched the video of us putting the pump on, and he dropped us a message, and he said that pump seemed to go on too easy, and it did. As I was putting the pump on, I thought I had it in my head, that's gone on far too easy, because I know how difficult it was to put the hydraulic lift cylinder in. Went in till it hit the O-ring, but then I had to get a couple of bolts, a couple of the long bolts, and jack that cylinder into position to compress the ring, the O-ring. I was expecting the same with the pump, and it didn't. It went straight on. So when I was taking the axle off, I thought, right, we'll have that pump off first. We'll do some inspection in there and see what's going on. Took the pump off, wrapped it up, put it away, because that isn't going back on for the minute. The delivery tube from the pump to the camel's humps, the O-ring goes on that delivery tube, and the workshop manual specifies, I'm sure it's a 5/8 internal diameter, but specifically a 0.103 thou cross-section O-ring. I measured my O-rings, and indeed it is 0.103 cross-section. It came in a kit with the gasket for the camel's humps, with all the other O-rings for the hydraulic set. So it'll seal the suction pipe to the pump, it seals the pump to the delivery, seals the three-way to the delivery, seals the camel's humps up. It puts the manifold block back onto the front of the valve chest. And indeed, as I say, the O-ring was 0.103. But I measured the undercut on that delivery tube. The undercut is 0.103 deep. So effectively you don't have any sealing force there whatsoever. Campbell in his message did say that he in his experiences has found that you need to put a 3.5mm cross-section O-ring in there in order to get it to seal. Apparently if you don't get it to seal, quite obviously you will get an oil leak, but you don't get a 360-degree oil leak. You get a jet that comes through in one weak spot. That jet ends up cutting either the valve, it ends up cutting either the pump body or the metal on the delivery tube. Either or, you're going to lose your pressure. And I think it's going to end up cutting the pump, because the pump is the softer material, it's aluminium. So we're going to have a look around, and we're going to get ourselves some thicker cross-sectional O-rings to go into the pump and the three-way valve. Anybody knows where we can get 3.5mm O-rings? Drop us a comment, please. Much appreciated. Back to the diff. We're putting the diff in. Doing the backlash, I did mention the contact patterns between the diff and the pinion wheel. Well, where are we? Well, Benjamin Rulander. Benjamin, I hope I've got your surname right there, your family name. Benjamin Rulander dropped us a message. He cannot find anything pictorially that demonstrates contact patterns between pinion and crown wheel. Right, I'm going to put a picture up here from you. This is out of the workshop manual that I obtained from Shane Bush out in America. Pathway to Discovery. Go and have a look at his channel. He tells you where and how to get the manuals from free. Alright, these are proper Davy Brown manuals, not Mickey Mouse books that need to be ripped up and put on the fire. Right? So, pop across to Shane Bush, Path of Discovery, have a look at one of his early videos. He tells you where to get the information and how. Download the section of books, have a look at them. But here's a picture anyway of the contact patterns. Now, if you go back to that video and you have a look at if you go back to the previous video of me building the gearbox, on the top you see he's putting in the big round bearing carrier with shims underneath it, big round shims about so big, right? That's what sets the amount of contact in or out of the pinion shaft with the crown wheel. Okay, as I say, watch the video. We have the large 1 1/8" left hand thread pinion nut. Behind that nut is some shims and spacers. All they do is set the end float of that pinion shaft in that carrier. That's got nothing to do with your pattern on the crown wheel. The shims you need are the large diameter ones, go behind the main bearing carrier, between the carrier and the casting. They alter how much your pinion shaft goes in or is brought out. What you do, as I say, clean it all off, put some micrometer marking blue on the pinion, turn it, have a look where your contact pattern is, and that will tell you whether you need to put shims into that space to bring your crown wheel away. Sorry, not your crown wheel, your pinion wheel. It'll tell you whether you need to put shims in there to pull your pinion wheel forward, or take shims out to push your pinion wheel further back in. As I say, that image I've put up will show you the correct and incorrect contact patterns for your crown wheel pinion relationship. Alright, Benjamin, hope that's helped. In the footage we're going to show you from the garage, it's just short, just showing you the axles back on, the lids back on the gearbox, but the lid isn't bolted down because we've got to go in there yet. We have the clutch stop brake to complete. I removed the brake band the other day. I had to get in and move the brake drum, the clutch stop brake drum, and the circlips forward to get the muff shaft in and set up that relationship between the muff shafts and the gearbox. However, that brake band does need a friction material bonded to it. Stuart from Bartley Williams, I was on the phone to him earlier in the week, twice. Stuart's got some away at the moment having the material bonded on. When he gets them back, we'll get a brake band off him. We'll get that put in, and we will have a look. I think if we get the brake band put back in, I'm nearly sure that gearbox lid can go back on then, and the gear sticks can go in, and that'll stop any dirt getting down into the gearbox. Now, as I think I've mentioned this before, the astute amongst you will have noticed that's not the right lid. That lid is off a 6-speed tractor with the crawler gear added, because it's got position for 3 brake sticks. No, it has position for 3 gear levers. The frontmost one is the crawler unit. So at some point in its life, something has, either the gearbox has been swapped out of that, or the lid has gotten broken. I don't know how you're going to break a lid unless you drop something. Well, I don't know how you break a lid, but the lid's been changed. It's not an original lid for that tractor. Right, so as I say, as soon as we get the brake band back, we'll get that sorted out, get everything put back together, get the adjustments done so that that's stopping or contacting the shaft at the right time, get the lid bolted down. So the next day after we got the gearbox put in, it was a bit like today. Overcast, but good. Bit of a breeze blowing off the sea. And considering we only live a mile from the coast, we jumped in the car, went down the coast, had a nice walk along the beach. I'll put a little bit of video footage up here of our beach. Right, let's take you for a quick shufty round the garage. We'll show you everything we're getting sorted out back in there. Right guys, quick video on the iPhone. It's back on the floor, lids on, not on because there's still the brake band and that to go in, and of course the pinion nut tension. As you see here, the pump's not on, and that's because the O-ring that goes in here, when I put the pump on the last time, I wasn't convinced that was the right O-ring. Now Campbell from New Zealand, he messaged me and said the pump seemed to go on far too easy there, and he did describe a problem with the O-rings being too thin. So I need to speak to Stuart to see about an O-ring for that. It's 5/8 internal diameter and it's 103 thou. All the ones I've got is 0.724, I think, internal diameter. And those O-rings came in a kit for the Camel's humps, and it was all the O-rings for all the hydraulics, and I think they're too thin. I think they're too thin in a cross section. So I'm going to have a look at my little kit, see what I've got. If not, I'm going to speak to Stuart, see if we can get from Stuart an O-ring of the right dimensions, so that when I put the pump on there, we actually struggle a little bit to put the pump back on. Because as I say, it was described to us as, if it's not right, the oil pressure will force its way past the O-ring and eventually end up either cutting the pump body, which is the softer of the materials, or it will damage the metal fitting there, the pipe fitting. Right guys, well that's it for this video. It's just short and sweet because you've seen most of what we've been doing all week. We've been busy with the gearbox all week, haven't we? So next week we might not get a video out next week. We'll see, because I think next week I'm going to be well, Monday we're moving sheep for Gemma. We're giving her a hand. Because tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, the ultrasound guys coming are scanning all the sheep to see if they've got single, twins or triplets, so that we can manage them, we can look after them, feed them properly and accordingly, and make sure that they have the best time from now till, I think it's about 8 weeks till they start lambing. Not far away at all. We are going to have to put together a puller to pull these brake drums off. So it depends on what I can find and where and how quick we can get that sorted out. As to the next video will be us taking those final drives to pieces and hopefully getting them cleaned up. But we'll see how we get on now. Right guys, that's it for this weekly yarn. As always, your time is greatly appreciated. Don't forget, if the video's been useful, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your mates. Don't forget to tick that little notifications bell, which will inform you that our next video has been released. And as always, remember, don't overthink it. It's only nuts and bolts. And we'll see you in the next video, which might be making the puller for the final drives. We'll see. Thanks guys, see you next time. Bye now.